Ah, we don't know when this issue of minimum wage will go away because I know that there are still going to be many battlefronts in the states. Because we've had protests from the governors that even the 60,000 naira per month, I mean, they won't be able to pay. I mean, some even say that if they have to pay the 16,000 naira, then they may have to also use all their federal allocations because the IGR is even insufficient to meet such payment every month. And even some say that they may have to borrow in order to pay workers. And of course, that would be quite immoral, and it's also going to be economically not advisable because we learned that just about 13% of the population are in the public service, and you don't use 90% to pay a monthly salary of just 13%. Although the arithmetic is not that clear, because for every worker there are more than four dependents on them. So, but let's leave that aside. I read somewhere in the presidential address that he was going to take a bill to the National Assembly. And of course, once a bill is passed into law on minimum wage, it becomes mandatory for certain category of employers to comply in terms of payment. Yeah, you see, whether you like it or not, the governors are right in some respect, but also the labor is also right, and the president may also be right in terms of the fact that proposing between 62 and 100 or whatever it's set as minimum wage. But what people are missing is that minimum wage need not be uniform salary wage across board. There's a difference between minimum wage and uniform wage for all workers. But minimum wage connotes the fact that after everything is taken into consideration, whatever is prescribed is the minimum that can take an average worker through the month. That if you pay less, then you're simply paying slave wage. Unfortunately, we not all states will pay that whatever is minimum wage. Some are, while you cannot pay less, you must pay more. I mean, you can pay more depending on where you live. The IGR of Lagos State, for instance, says, doubles most of the states put together. Therefore, even if minimum wage is put at 60,000, Lagos State knows that they have to pay more. While some states may just have to stay at that minimum wage. But none can, none should pay less than whatever is prescribed. Because it's a law. To do that is to be violating the law. I don't know why we bother ourselves about high cost. I mean, huge wage bill, huge salaries. No, except that because we have defined what it takes to live a good quality life as being directly proportional to the amount of money in your pocket. That's not correct. There are some people who will not live, who would rather take a small salary and live in a peaceful environment where the value of the money will far better than somebody who takes a huge salary every month but living in a very expensive environment And also, people don't cost, they didn't put the cost to the lifestyle, to the stress they enjoy. I mean, there are people I know, and I also know that no matter how much you are prepared to pay me, I won't live and work in a place like Lagos. Yet, the standard of living of people who live in Ibadan, or who live in Oshogbo, who live in the same, will be far, far better than that of somebody who earn three times more than person who lives in the same will earn. I know that the cost of education in Ibadan to the same standard of schools will be less for somebody in Ibadan, for instance, or in the same. And education is same everywhere. It is the environment where those education is given that differs. And you don't tell me your buildings. I mean, the building where students stay constitute the quality of education the teachers give in the classroom. So I can only urge the federal government to come into some understanding with the state governors that whatever bill in terms of salaries that is being taken to National Assembly to become law, so that we don't find many state governors, I mean, running foul of the law on minimum wage. And of course, in an attempt to avoid violating the federal law on minimum wage, we might find a situation where many states will resort to restructuring, staff restructuring, to simply mean downsizing. I mean, keeping the number of workers they can pay. So but I mean, minimum wage. Minimum wage don't be the uniform wage. I mean, you can still can pay more. Those who still can afford it, yes, they can pay more. But definitely, none can pay less than the minimum wage if it becomes a law. It's not. It's justiciable. I mean, it's enforceable because you'll be violating a law if you pay less. And I know. I mean, states will simply just the same thing with private sector. Unfortunately, like I once said, we hardly labor minders, the labor union leaders have not really given proper perspective to this issue of minimum wage. As I can assure you, by the time that minimum wage is paid, whatever it is paid, I mean, traders, manufacturers, because they will also be compelled to pay to their workers if they still want to retain them. They'll be forced to raise the prices of their goods because the cost of production it's already high. Electricity, they pay much for diesel, they pay for so many things. I mean, you're enjoying in a metropolitan, where government takes care of local government activities, because most of these things that we are supposed to be enjoying in terms of infrastructure are actually should be handled by local government. But now most individuals do it. I have a borehole here, I have a generator, and of course the roads are not good. We come together as neighbors to ensure that our street roads are in proper shape. We contribute for our own security. So you then tell me, and of course, if anybody in business will pass this down. So, and for essential goods, workers may have to pay more. And by the time they do a cost value analysis, they find out that their standard of life hasn't really improved. Instead, I've always argued that workers should be asking for different things and not wages. Ask that the public school be put properly in place, so you don't spend much in private schools that are not even given the kind of education public schools give. Ask that our hospitals be fixed so that you do not spend much on consultation in private hospitals. Ask that security to be fixed so that you are not called upon to deny yourself of nice sleeps or pay for vigilante to enable you enjoy security. These are the things that goes with money. As that the roads are fixed, proper transportation system is put in place, that you pay less. As that every government departments, I mean every government secretariat to have transportation plying certain areas in order to bring their workers to work, of course, at a subsidized rate, because even government itself will increase tax apart from manufacturers. Today, I mean, a typical of beans is said to be 1,800. Well, I mean, it doesn't take any rocket science intelligence to know that by the time that bill is signed to law and the minimum which is paid, you can be sure that same the car you buy for 2,000 minimum. Because also will your landlords will come after you to get his fair share. Yeah, you don't blame, you don't come and say, oh, that house is 20 years old. Of course, if he has to maintain it, then two, if he's living on that property and he's going to buy things that inflation cost push inflation prices, then that's also his own product that he has to sell. So I just hope that government will be good enough to fix what is real, what is reasonable in this present Nigeria, and also workers should try and understand that I'm realistic. Not because of the economy, no. Government hasn't demonstrated the fact that the economy isn't good, but because of the interest of workers itself. Because the more they receive, the more they're going to pay for products outside there. Thank you.